illuminated streets, whispers in the night, blacked out vans, kids snatched out of sight, families in despair, shadows grip tight, land of the free, chained in fright. I am Obsidian, hear me break free. Voices rising up, can't stifle our plea. Our kids taken, hearts filled with rage. Unite, stand strong, let's break this cage. Behind closed doors, secrets buried deep. Wolves in suits, power they seek. Parents scream loud, but answers they keep. Government games, we no longer sleep. We are Obsidian, heroes break free. Voices rising up, can't stifle our plea. Our kids taken, hearts filled with rage. Unite, stand strong, let's break this cage. A generation lost, futures they steal. Society fractures, wounds never heal. Whispers turn to roars, truth revealed. In the end, justice and power concealed. Bills lost, killed, control, rest, and key walk free. But you changes devil parts, flip the light of heaven, government free. They beat devils lost, killed, and shall rest, and key out free. But you changes devil parts, flip the light of heaven, government free. They beat devils lost, killed, and shall rest, and key out free. But you changes devil parts, flip the light of heaven, government free. They be devils lost, killed, and shall rest and key out free. But you changes devil parts with the water with generation lost. Futures they steal. Society fractures, wounds never heal. Whispers turn to roars, truth revealed. In the end, justice and power concealed.
In the heart of our great nation, where the strength of our communities is built upon the foundation of strong and loving families, an urgent crisis is unfolding. Child Protective Services, CPS, an institution designed to safeguard our most vulnerable, has in many cases betrayed its noble mission. Too often, families are torn apart not by neglect or abuse, but by systemic failures and corruption. We can no longer stand idly by as these injustices continue. We are here to give a voice to those who have been isolated, to shine a light on the corruption, and to rally our fellow citizens in this critical fight for justice. Every day, countless families are caught in a web of bureaucracy and abuse of power, their lives disrupted and their bonds shattered. Children, who should be nurtured and protected, are instead placed in situations that can be just as, if not more, harmful than the circumstances from which they were taken. Parents, often bewildered and powerless, face insurmountable odds as they fight to reunite with their children. This is not the America we believe in. We cannot allow these injustices to persist. Our mission is to educate, to inform, and to inspire action. We promise to bring you daily updates on CPS, exposing the truth and fighting for reform. We must remember that the future of our nation depends on the strength and unity of our families. By standing together, we can hold CPS accountable and ensure that it fulfills its true purpose, protecting children and preserving families. This is a fight we must not and will not lose. We are committed to saving our families and securing a brighter future for all. The road ahead is challenging, but with your support, we can make a difference. Together, we will bring hope to those who have lost it and ensure that justice prevails. Let us unite with unwavering resolve and a sense of patriotic duty to safeguard the integrity of our families and the future of our nation.
In the United States, CPS makes upwards of $3 billion per day on trafficking and selling our children. The corruption may start with the caseworker, but goes through the judicial system, passing the governor through the Senate and into the White House. The entire system has a hand in the business known as CPS.
Our children are stolen every minute of a 24-hour day. They are being robbed of their innocence, their trust, their happiness. As parents, we are isolated and betrayed by a government we trust. States are balancing budgets on kids' lives. Only 12% of the kids taken will be reunified. Title IV funding is being riveted with fraud.
We need to stop CPS and abolish CPU because .com is leading the way. Join us.
Good evening. Hope you are doing well. To all the families out there, you keep fighting. Stick together. This is important. This is something, this doesn't happen just so often. To have this many people violated by a system in so many different ways. Today I have with me a few gentlemen. After I get into some news and the case of the day, we will have these gentlemen on to describe the corruption that occurred to them when they had to involve themselves just with the court system, not even with CPS digging its ugly hands in there with false accusations, making things worse. I mean, I've had guests on my segment, several now that, we're not necessarily dealing with CPS, but some of us are. Well, we come to find out it's one big beast. So all of us fathers here and mothers in my private group that I have. I'd like to have them all on to tell their story, because to have them be silenced so would be a violation of their First Amendment right to their freedom of speech and to seek redress from their government for the wrongs that have been done to the American people. And it's time we stand up. If we don't stand up, nobody's going to. If you don't stand up for your kids, and if you don't stand up for everyone's kids, you see government agencies reaching beyond their corrupt hand of power, acting under the guise of color of law to deprive people of their rights. It's not right. And so today, I have a case for you. That case would be Santosky versus Kramer. As my previous guest pointed out, case law, to allow the judiciary to formulate law would be a violation of the Constitution. Although that being said, without case law, you could not render anything unconstitutional, because that would be Marbury versus Madison, a case law that established that principle. So what they are is cases that have been previously determined based upon the law. That's why they call it case law. It's a euphemism. It's not, it doesn't mean, they're not meaning to say that they really are making laws. But we'll get into that later time on my channel. This here's the case of the day. The liberty interests of natural parents in the care and custody of their child does not evaporate simply because they have not been model parents or have temporarily lost custody of their child to the state. That would be Santosky versus Kramer, 455 United States, 745. That'd be the Supreme Court. And that basically held that even in a contested court proceeding, when they revoke all of your parental rights from you, they didn't, because they can't, because they're inalienable. Congress has also addressed this issue. Executive branch is working on it. And that leads me into my next portion. In news today, we have our good friend Mark Ludwig, who has been fighting the 4D beast as far as legislature is concerned for quite some time. He went 3 years without his son. He's down in DC right now, and he's down there trying to get with the president's cabinet and establish a line of communication for the changing of these legislative codes down at Congress that are violating all of our rights. So I will be intermittently sending him informations of erroneous codes that may be a violation of the Constitution as he goes. And so I'm just trying to help him in only that capacity, because that's all I can do. I've learned everything that you could possibly need to know about the law, but there's always more to learn. I'm not naive to think that I'm King Tut and know everything about everything. That's simply not true. That being said, I am highly intelligent, and I will tell you that Mark Ludwig will fight for fathers' rights to equal parenting. We have to get rid of this non-custodial parent verbiage. It's a violation of your parental rights. The Supreme Court cases that I go on about all the time, those protect your parental rights very much so. And it doesn't matter if it's Title 4D, 4E, all of these things are attack on the family unit. Because if they can get dad out of there with the child support, right? So if he fails to pay, he's going to jail. That removes the dad from the family unit. Now what can they do? Well, if mom don't comply, well, then, you've got all these hotlines where your relatives turn you in to CPS. Or you call CPS on your ex out of spite. I'm telling you right now, don't do it. Unless there's really some danger going on. There's really got to be imminent danger, and that would be the strict scrutiny standard that is established by the principle that states there's a principle of Supreme Court cases states there's a certain way they're supposed to go about this. They have to have a compelling state interest. What is a compelling state interest? Something that would be a crime against humanity would be a compelling state interest. Something that compels the conscience. You see what I'm saying? So what could that be? Well, that's obviously explicit abuse. And in order to have that, they have to have strict scrutiny, which means they have to have the burden of proof. That rests on he who asserts, not he who denies. Remember that. False accusations abound in these family courts. These family courts gladly take away your parental rights and subjugate you to pay for that. And if you owe child support, quote, what they say, then you're going to pay regardless of who has your kid, because if your kid ends up in adoption or CPS takes your kid, that's another form of revenue. So here today I have a few gentlemen that I like to bring on, and for my first guest, I would like to bring on Travis. I've been working with him to understand, overstand what these courts do in marital disputes and things that are just disgusting. That it's all backhand, it's all in the back doors and behind closed doors. They use the privacy laws against you. There's all sorts of things they do. But I like to bring on Travis.
Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, boss.
Oh, yes. Well, the situation that I've been through with the courts and stuff like that, the first time that I went in, I was before 3 judges. And the first time, the first judges ruled child support was denied. So did the second. Everything with my case through a marriage and divorce. What happened with me is mediation. When the mediator came in, that's when everything went away. Your parental rights, even though you argue with her, they put me on a $250 an hour clock, and she wouldn't agree with anything, didn't look out the best interest of the child. And my lawyer just sit there. The letter did everything she wanted to do. And we got up to about $2,000. I said, I can't win in here. She told me I couldn't leave. And that's when she did everything. Stripped my rights and made me a non-custodial parent. The judge signed the order, wouldn't listen to anything. I submitted the color law form and the dear colleague letter. I'm just relentless. And nothing was said. They just did what they wanted with me. Still there. Still in. There you go.
Yeah, it's kicked me out 3 times already.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had to come back in 3 times, but here we are. Yeah, no. Would you say that was a violation of your right to due process, sir?
Oh, yes. And I had a lawyer.
And what did that lawyer do?
Nothing. When it comes to mediation, you just let them take over. Sat in there, fell asleep, and told me somebody had to be the custodial parent and the non-custodial parent.
And now, what kind of problem would that be? Well, that would be a diminishment of your rights and title, status of that of man, to that of father, from that of father to that of punitive father, from that of punitive father to that of non-custodial parent, and to that of obligor. So they diminish your rights and title and status all the way along, don't they?
Yes. They do that. That mediator just came in. She didn't care.
You know, and so one of the things that I always say, when your rights are violated, man, to me that's a crime. And I feel like in your particular instance, your rights were egregiously violated, man. They didn't give you your right to be heard. Um, although they like to use the best interests of the child standard when it comes to them, but when you want to bring it up, then they don't want to use it, right?
Right.
And that would be a denial of equal protection of the law. Yes, they did violate your rights, good sir.
But everything I fight in court for to get custody of him, because the thing he was going in is happening now. He's kicked out of school.
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
ill.
Meanwhile, what's happening to your son? Yeah.
Yes, all of that. They didn't care. And then they reversed the judge's decision that child support was denied and put it back on me through mediation.
And how long did it take the other party to apply for Title 4D services?
It took her 8 years. Yeah, it took her 8 years, and that's why the first judge ruled child support was denied, because she asked her, "Okay, why didn't you come 8 years ago?" They didn't have
So
nothing to
for 8
say.
years, you've been dealing with this corruption.
Now, well, now it's been since. Now, it hadn't been a year yet, but it was 8 years. We were separated with no
Oh,
child
okay,
support.
yeah. Oh, okay,
hmm
gotcha.
That's why
So
the
you
first
just,
judge ruled
yeah,
child support denied, because she did not come in 8 years, and all of a sudden you're getting a divorce, so now you want child support.
right. Now you want child support for some reason.
hmm But that's
And
why
then
she denied it.
what does she do in regards to your your time with your child?
Well, she's never had to pick up. We goes there to Walmart to pick up. She's never there. And now I'm alienated from my child. The last message I got from my child was to stay out of his life. So I'm completely alienated.
That is definitely probably what's going on, man.
Right. And I have the text message and everything.
But you working hard to secure your rights, ain't you?
Right.
Yeah, you ain't gonna let them trample on you like that.
No. But it's been since May the 10th when this happened. And the same judge that signed this order, I went back to court for, it's supposed to be in contempt of court, because I paid the guardian light, which she did nothing. I understand what I was in there. He talked over them like I wasn't even in there. He speak to the mother as if, okay, you the custodian parent, and if you was to get locked up for not paying the guardian, then your child will be with DSS. Like I wasn't even standing there. Just
So let me get this straight. There's a perfectly good parent standing
mhm,
right there,
yes,
and they just
overlooking.
looked right past you and said, "Oh, we're just gonna give him to foster care or
Yes,
adopt him."
yes, yes.
Mm-mm-mm. See, I got a problem with that. That's a violation of your rights.
Right,
Again, even worse. Now they just say you don't even have no rights.
right.
See, that's the problem with this system. And I believe that's what Mark's down in DC trying to figure out too, is we got to do something about this. We can't keep getting labeled this and getting, just trampled upon. I mean, we don't get no right to speak. We don't get no right to see our kids. Like, what is this?
Right.
You know, when we was growing up, we always had people adults always made this out to be like having kids in a family was supposed to be a great thing. You're supposed to be something to work towards, something, you're supposed to be married, you're supposed to settle down and do this thing. And now you got all this.
Right. What weirded me out about the situation is that when you submitted the color of law form, is they made the rule that I have the option to pay it through the disbursement unit or directly to the mother. And if I do not pay her on time, within 5 days late, she could come back in and get me for contempt of court.
Right. How about you? Could you put her in contempt of court if she wouldn't let you see your kid?
I don't even trust
Mm.
this judge, man. I'm always ending up with him, but
That'd be
he's
a
gonna take his
denial of equal
class.
protection of law. There's another violation of the Constitution.
Hmm.
The system can't operate without doing it. That's why it's got to go. It's
Right.
got to go, man. Short of massively reforming it, I mean, you would have to take this whole thing. You would have to take the hood off this thing, and go in and pull out all sorts of different legislature and replace all sorts of different legal. You might as well just throw it in the garbage and start over.
Right.
And it is the president's responsibility. But I'm gonna ask you, man, have you been treated fairly when it comes to your kid? And I don't think you have, right?
No, not at all.
So,
And what they did made my older kids suffer in college and everything, and there's nothing being done about it.
well, I believe that's what the 1983 is for. You know, I cannot suggest one way or another, but if you're going to have a civil rights lawsuit, logically speaking, that would be the way to go. Would be the federal district court, because it seems like these state courts, they just don't. They have a problem with listening. You know,
Yes.
they have a problem with listening. They don't give you the time to speak. They just want to make their rulings and go home and go to go feed their dog, hang out with their wife and kids if they got them.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the back of the taxpayer pays all these public officials wages, their salaries. So, if you're out here working and they're forcing you to labor because of child support, that makes you a taxpayer.
Right.
They're obligated to you, but it's forcing them to see it the other way around, and I don't think that they see it that way, man. How does all that make you feel?
Uh-huh. Kind of piss you off, but there's no need in dealing with a lawyer because every lawyer got a fee, and then when they hear your situation, they leave it alone. So eat $200, $300, and they do nothing about it.
Never trust a lawyer, man.
Right.
And I say that because if you look at corpus juris secundum, attorney and
Mhm.
client, you're gonna
Mhm.
find that when they reorganize the law, they say, oh well, now all the attorneys, you know, are gonna be you know, if you got an attorney, you're a ward of the court means you can't say nothing. I mean, like, right. So you're gonna tell me because I observe my right to an attorney that I don't have the freedom of speech?
Right.
So it was like seeing this just tells me don't trust them in family court, man.
You can't.
You can't do it. You have to learn this. You got to learn all this, man. And that's what's terrifying is while you're learning all this, they're going to come take your money from your job and all this other stuff.
Right, but they clearly said I did not agree when it's supposed to have been 100% voluntarily.
Well, and then with you, you got a prior judge's order ordering no child support, and then a conflicting judge's order ordering against that.
Right, I have both.
Yeah. So I mean, that
Hmm.
kind of screws them in a way, because how can there be different determinations over the same case? That don't make no sense. Who had the original jurisdiction? Who came first,
Right,
the chicken or the egg?
exactly. And I try to get the reporters recordings. Can't
Yeah.
get them.
Yep. They like to hide them behind privacy laws, right?
Right, and then they were saying I got to find some form that I haven't found yet. And I've talked with one of the reporters, and she said it will be $4.35 a page.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
Did you know that they could print a Webster's dictionary with that amount of money? Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah,
Printing supplies are not that expensive.
that's why
That's
it's
just
worth counting.
ridiculous. All
That's
for a
right.
court record that they're obligated to give you.
Right.
All right, all right. I got you on that. I got you on that. I'll get with you in private on that one.
Gotcha.
Some information. Oh yeah. I sense a void judgment here too, so I'll slide that your way. That should help
Okay.
you out. I sense
Yes.
that somewhere in the crux of what's going on here, because somebody is there's a discrepancy here. I
Mm-hmm.
almost would say writ of mandamus, but anymore they're trying to get rid of all them common law writs so we can't use them because that's our remedy, and they can't be doing that. But they're, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm glad a lot of the judiciary is about to get thrown out of office. I am really hopeful. Please do so.
Yes.
With what Doge is doing and things.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting. Doge hit. In other news, Doge hit Title IV defunding and began auditing the Title IV defunding. Man, so they are also they're looking into it, man. Uh, there's gonna be some change real soon. Um, but yeah, man. Anything else you need to say, bro? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you just go ahead, man.
Mm.
Um,
That's pretty much it. It's just there's nothing you can do when you get in the hands of the people.
yeah, that's another thing. Going down there. What's your experience from going down there?
To
I mean, would you say it's a kangaroo court, bro?
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, definitely.
It's
I get a
definitely a
lot of
kangaroo
that. A
court.
lot of people say that one, and I can wholeheartedly agree with that. I seen it myself when they took me down there. It's like, oh, you're gonna jump in front of a judge, and you know,
Yes,
so
it was
I
like
feel you.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but it was like they was waiting till they get the right judge in there, and then
Hmm.
that's when they did it. And my lawyer kept lying to me that I would get my chance to speak and to tell my part, which I never did.
And you never did you?
Never.
I believe you have the right to sue for 1983, good sir. Yes, I do.
Hmm.
Um, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna slide that info in particular to you. I need what I need to do is put together a video tutorial as well as a instruction packet on how to file one of these things, because it seems to be what everybody has an issue with is like understanding the filing. Like, how do you do it? And that's where the bar attorneys get us, because they don't learn the law, they learn procedure. And
Right.
that's how they can churn out these court documents like that, and we have such a hard time. But I'm getting to it. I'm getting to the bottom of it. So when I get that, I'm gonna um I'm gonna make sure you get that entire thing for free. I don't charge for my services. There's a reason I don't charge for my services. it's because I believe these people are a blight and a plague on society and mankind. And their position of employment was created by an erroneous instrument. And it is my duty as both a common law constitutional citizen and as a private man to do this, because I have to stand up for families, and I have to continue to have people like you on my podcast, and possibly my own show too,
Mhm.
on child support itself, where I'll have that be coming along soon too. So this will be more dedicated to the CPS end. But for the time being, this is letting them know that they got brethren out here too, where these folks just run right over you. They don't give you no chance, nothing. Now, that's why I'm doing this platform, to give you your chance to speak, because that was taken from you.
Yes.
And this will eventually become a part of evidentiary record of like, as far as just what they've done, just inherently, because eventually the truth is going to come out, and they're going to get exposed for their corrupt crimes. And when that happens, there's no stopping all of the litigants that are going to come forth when they realize there's actually a right of remedy. So that's what I've been working on. So anything you got to say to everybody before Ricardo comes on?
Take it
Thank you
away.
for coming on. I appreciate you, man.
No problem, man.
All right, Ricardo, you're next, bud.
I'm ready, my friend.
This is my friend Ricardo Rampone. Uh, he's got a bit of a story to tell. And this one is very, very good too. This gentleman has been working pretty ostensively with me to understand his rights. He's been exercising his rights, and he's coming for him. He's actually got his file. So he's coming. So with that, I can't speak much more on his instance. I believe that's for him to discuss. You go ahead and take it away, Ricardo.
Where do we start?
Ah, the
It's,
beginning. What did they do to you when you first got here, bro? How's that?
well, I was living in Florida. Well, I came here. She pulled the cops on me. My situation is different because I'm not an American citizen. I was born in El Salvador. I have an Italian citizenship. My kids are Italian citizens. We came to this country 2016, 2015, at the end of 2015. Um, they kicked me out of the house where I was living with her aunt 3 months later after we came here. And yeah, after that, I was trying to see my kids. I didn't know anything about legalese or whatever it was going on in this country, about fatherless and how the child support courts work. So a house fell on me, broke my hand. While I was in surgery, she took my kids from Georgia to Wisconsin, and it was totally legal because we were not in a divorce. So they took my children away without any permission or anything, and they brought it back to Wisconsin. Um, After that, I came to Wisconsin. I moved to Wisconsin after I settled with all my doctor procedures, and they fixed my hand and everything. And yeah, she was filing for the divorce. In the middle of that, I traveled here. and suddenly a guardian ad litem was in the middle of the way. And my daughter texted me and said, "Hey, I want you to be here for my birthday." So I came here. The guardian ad litem put me in a courtroom and said that I was a flight risk and that I have to see my kids in a supervised visitation place. And that was the only way that I was going to see them. So I agreed it. I went to the supervised visitation. Thanks God, because God that makes everything for a way. And I saw them there. After that, I came with my mom and dad. That was in 2018, 2019. She accused me of horrible things. Are you there, Mr. Obsidian? Are you there?
Give him a second. It kicks him because he keeps going off cam, and every time his cam goes off, it will kick him out. So Obsidian, your cam has to be on, buddy. You can't turn your cam off or it kicks you out.
Well, after that, I moved here, and well, I came
They're
here with
back
my
on.
mom
There it
and
goes.
dad, and she accused me of horrible things, and they were proven false by an investigator
Yeah.
of the police station of Glendale, and they gave me back my custody. Obviously, after I proved everything was false, all of those were false allegations, horrible things. You've seen it, Mr. Obsidian,
Oh
and
yeah.
they were proven false. The guardian ad litem wanted to give her the full custody of my children, and the my lawyer came out and say, "Hey, you know you have to sign this. This is as much as they're gonna give you." I said, "No, I have been paying you over for a year and almost 2 years. It was over $1,500.
So let's establish you came here legally, right?
Yes, sir.
And you
Yes,
obeyed our laws while you were here, correct?
yes, sir. I've never broken a law. I've never committed a crime.
And you
I've
paid your
never.
taxes?
Yes, sir. I do.
Well then, good sir,
And I
that
use
that qualifies you to be an honorary citizen. I'm pretty sure the Constitution applies to your rights.
and I used to pay my child support as they pleaded. You know, whatever they were asking, I will be paying every week, every time. They were garnished from my salary. And I have a two-bedroom apartment 10 minutes from where they live. I have a beautiful bed for them. You know, everything is set up for them.
Now, tell these folks, do they take child support from you anymore?
No, sir, I don't. I have a year, almost 2 years, not paying child support
And
because
they don't throw you in jail, right? They never threw you in jail.
they don't send letters to me. They don't mess with me anymore. It's more whenever I filed the warning of the 42 USC 1983, they remove a lien that they had put in my car.
And you
Which,
sent me that document, correct?
yes, sir, I show it to you. And well, and I started figuring out when my ex lawyer goes to the chambers with the guardian ad litem and the judges, and they come out laughing out of there without me being there when I
You know
was.
what that's called? That's called ex parte communications. Look up the
Yes,
case ex parte Davis.
yes, sir, and that's totally unfair. You know, I told her,
Mhm.
if you do it, if you ever do that again,
That's against the rules.
consider yourself unemployed, because I'm not gonna pay a freaking cent more. You know. Well, that day that the guardian ad litem wanted me to sign. Well, my lawyer wanted me to sign that court orders. I said, well, you know what? I paid you over $150,000. You promised me that at least you will give me half and half custody, I will do it with you or with another lawyer.
And how long's it been since you've seen a human offspring?
Well, that was in 2019. So I gained back the custody, and I had them every other weekend, Monday, Tuesday, every week. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Suddenly, she started dating a guy, and these guys start letting my kid going out, making his homework outside in the freezing cold without the jacket. And he started telling me all this stuff. So I went to file a police report. CPS came once to my house. They came in, they saw how I treat my kids. They were fine with that. So because they were fine with that, my ex-wife get rid of him. you know, and it's ridiculous.
And so at what point did you realize in the court process that there was something not quite right?
Well, after that, back in 2022, she started doing the same thing. And thanks God I met Robert Garza. And he told me because she was not letting me see my kids, even though we have a court order that I was allowed to see my children. She was going and picking my children up of school 1 2 hours and a half 1 hour and a half before the whenever they go out. So Robert Garza make me help me to start establishing that she was breaking the law, right? So a lot of I have almost 1625 police reports until one police officer came back and said, well, this is a civil matter. This is not a civil matter. 938.41. That's a felony. Whenever you're refusing to hear or you're interfering with child custody, it's a felony. This is not a civil crime. This is these are criminal.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
they put an arrest warrant on my ex-wife. And in all this time we haven't been in court yet. So the courts were still valid. I still
Now, what
have
about
custody.
that guardian ad litem? What can you tell me about her?
Oh my God. Can't tell you about her. She's a freaking disgusting piece of sociopath that she's done the same thing that she's done to me and my kids. To I have maybe 16 parents that she's done the same thing to them.
Please
And
be
when they
aware that I have screenshots of the reviews of this guardian ad litem in my database, and they're not good.
no,
Continue.
and that's what she does. This guardian ad litem. What she does is she goes against whatever parent is the most wants to fight more. It doesn't matter if it's the craziest one. She wants this fight to continue, so she still makes more money and
And
complete
what's
her
that
agenda.
called?
Sorry?
That's called conflict of interest.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what she does. And as I'm telling you, in 2019, she was going forward, my ex-wife, with all these false allegations, and everything was proven false. And she was assigned to my case back in 2022. And even though she knew that my ex-wife was a liar, she continued to go in on her side. And they took my
She
kids away.
continued to continue the narrative that you had abused your human offspring in some way, shape, or form, correct?
When I have police officer reviews that they have checked on the forensic interviews saying that my ex-wife was coaching them to say whatever she wanted to say. The police officer that charged my ex-wife, the chief of the police obviously granted the permission to charge her. Whenever the charges
That would
went
be leading questions. That would be leading questions.
whenever it went to the DA's office, the DA's dropped the charges without the trial because she's a woman. Because the Abuse Center of Wisconsin got in touch with them and make him drop all the charges. The police
So,
officer, the police
that's my
officer
neighbor.
was not happy about that, and he wrote a letter to the judge. He spoke with the guardian ad litem. I have all those police reports. He wrote to the heads of the DAs of Wisconsin. Everything unanswered. I filed. They put me with a commissioner, which the commissioner refused
So
himself.
the district attorney failed to prosecute, didn't they?
Yes, sir. That's failed to
Continue.
prosecute. That's a felony.
It's
Okay.
misprision of a felony. Yes, you
Yes,
continue.
sir. So I went to the commissioner. The commissioner wanted me to put in contempt because supposedly the court recommended me to a psychosexual evaluation. And the psychosexual evaluator that the guardian ad litem recommended it was already retired. And every other of all of them, they will refuse to make me to do a psychosexual evaluation against me because I have never committed a crime. And
Did you have a private one of your own done?
we tried Robert
Okay.
Garza as my witness. We tried, we looked for them, we talked to several, all of them, and they will refuse to do one to me because I have never committed a crime. So a
There it is.
psychosexual evaluation get based on the crime that you have committed. Never
Right.
committed a crime.
You're not a
So-
sex offender.
So she said, "Well, let's make a polygraph."
Well, that's not admissible in court, really. I mean, they can be, depending on it.
Yeah,
Depends.
is that admissible in court, and they give false positive depending on who.
The only
ordered it.
time that those are admissible in court is when they're done in a courtroom.
Right. And I refused myself to do one of them. The commissioner didn't
Right,
even,
because that would be hearsay.
the commissioner didn't even knew the difference of a psychosexual evaluation and a psychological evaluation. When he wanted
Interesting. Is the commissioner the one that ordered it or the judge?
it was the guardian ad litem who was recommending that shit.
Is the guardian ad litem a judge?
No, sir.
Uh-oh, somebody is doing something they're not supposed to be doing.
Exactly. So after the commissioner recused himself, I filed de novo. And after that de novo, I had 7 judges. Every time that I mentioned 676.17, which is the legislation of the judge be obligated to read my de novo, they will just recuse themselves.
How many
judges.
times did you get judges to do that?
7 times. Every time. Every time after that commissioner, man. It was crazy.
Yeah. So what happened to all these people now that they've failed to allow you your due process rights? What would you say you have done in repercussion to that?
I filed a warning that I was going to file the lawsuit 42 USC 1983 against each of those individuals. Not against the court. It was not against my ex-wife, just against the individuals.
All in their private capacity.
Yes, sir. And they never respond. So I went forward and I filed a federal lawsuit against 7 judges, 2 commissioners, the in charge of the child support department, and the guardian ad litem for violating my constitutional rights.
Oh yeah. How would you say they reacted to that?
Oh, I don't know, man, but my lawsuit.
People are gonna find out why we laugh like that, my guy.
I'm suing them because they violated my first, my fourth, my fifth, my sixth, my seventh, my eighth, and my 14th Amendment, brother.
They're toast.
I've never committed a crime in my life. I've never.
So
done
now,
anything
what are
wrong.
what are they attempting to do to escape that?
Oh, they're trying to avoid the service process. I have two private.
The same thing that we do to them.
Right. I have tried. I have two different process servers paid to serve them. So yeah.
If need be, go to the notary.
Oh, yeah.
They'll mail it to them, and they can't deny that because it was mailed by a public officer. They have to accept it,
Yeah,
or
but
mail it back. But good luck mailing it back.
First of all,
Because
people
it's got
have
to
to
be mailed with
remember.
proper return address, which is zip exempt.
First of all, people has to remember that
No.
family courts are administrative courts, and they're all there for a contract. If you keep contract with them, they will keep screwing with you. Once you
Yep.
find out that they're contractors, that they're just administrative courts, you can sue them and take all this
And-
garnishment and more now that Mr. Trump has filed executive orders against these administrative courts and all this corruption. Now he's getting back the power to us, you know.
Now we have a path to the clear right of action that we didn't have before, that was being blocked by these
And
ALJs.
I sent you a video now that he filed an executive order saying that all these individuals have to have their bond of office, which I'm suing them from their bond of office. Because once we prove that they're violating my constitutional rights, bye bye, buddies. You don't have a
That's what
job.
I'm saying.
You don't have a job anymore.
Would you say that they're now running scared?
I bet you they are. And brother,
so just so people know, what was it? What was the damages attached?
for everything, my friend, all my suffering. Where are my kids? You know, it's been horrible living with this. It's a grievance that it doesn't end. You know, it's like whenever
You're gonna get back to them, ain't you?
Sorry?
You're gonna get back to your kid, ain't you?
Oh yeah, brother. They're not gonna stop me, man. They'll never stop me.
And why is that? Would you say it's because you know your rights?
I know my rights, and I know that I'm gonna fight until I can't more. If they want to kill me, trying to stop me, that's gonna be the only way.
That's the only thing they can do to you, right?
They already took everything.
It's something
from
criminal, because they have no lawful right of action. You would say so.
No, sir.
You told me that.
They've been violating my 14th Amendment all these times.
Oh, yeah.
And all of the other amendments, obviously.
That'd be the first, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, the 11th sometimes, and then the 13th, and then the 14th and the 16th.
And all the rights that they were given by God to me.
Yes.
So that's not the government involved. This is crimes against humanity. And even though my kids are not from here, they never had jurisdiction on my kids.
You have some rights that the government supplied you with, such as the right to due process in a court of law. Court of laws are established by men. But you have the freedom of speech, and no man can deprive you of that. Ain't nobody can tell you to shut up. If
They
you don't,
know
if
they
you don't
can
want to stop
deprive
speaking,
me.
you
They
know,
will never be able to deprive me.
they can't.
They
And,
maybe take my kids away, but they will never deprive me of being the father of my children.
and they
Never.
can never silence you. And that's the level where your parental rights are at. They're not, those are inalienable.
Yes, sir.
Inalienable means inalienable means they can't take it from you, and inalienable means that a lien cannot be placed on that.
And
So
that's what I'm asking a jury trial, because I don't
yes,
want a judge to give the fail. I want the jury to hear how these people, these individuals, deprive me of my 14th Amendment and all my amendments and my children without
and
due
what
process.
happens? And what happens when they fail to give you that jury trial?
Oh man, that's gonna be too.
That's
Uh,
another lawsuit, isn't it?
it's another lawsuit, and I can have appellate courts, and then I go to the Supreme Court, and then I go to international court.
Well, you would only have to go to Supreme Court if you get it passed through enough. Then it'd stop for everybody.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm trying to say. There is remedy out there for folks.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. The thing is that they're gonna try to silence you. They're gonna try to delay everything. They're gonna try to say that, oh, you're a sovereign citizen and all that bullshit.
Anything they can do to try to make you seem crazy so they can lock you up.
Right. And that's something that you have to know whenever you go to court. You can't go there and be mad. You have to play their game. At least
Yes.
until
And I think a lot of people are under the presumption that I would go into court angry like that. No, no. You got to go in like a wolf in sheep's clothes, friend. And you know that. Because you've experienced it. And I've only heard this from people who have experienced it. That's why I know it to be true.
It's like playing poker.
Yeah.
You get to know your cards and never
It's your
reveal
poker
them.
face. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't go in there claiming the straw man. You go in there acting like they already know what the straw man is. So you ain't got to tell them.
Yeah.
And then you don't get into the argument where they call you sovereign citizen. They just accept for fact what's going on.
Right.
And with your case, there's so many different levels of wrong, dude, that they're not going to be able to sweep it under the rug. Okay? So you've got entitlement of damages coming. These people, you said how many judges?
7 judges.
Now, everybody who is watching to think about that.
7 judges.
Think of the insanity. Just think of all the insanity that has transpired here.
That's in 1 year.
What did Ricardo want to do from the very beginning? See his child.
That's why I go out every day, 4 a.m., brother, work all day long, come back home and study the law and file all this paperwork, And
it's not about not being able to provide for your offspring, right, Ricardo?
right. And no. I've done it because I don't want to participate with a freaking
Right.
child support department. I don't want to be I don't have any contract with them.
Right, but would you say if you made them in private, you take care of them in private?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, you gotta know that whenever you go to family court, you're being scammed, literally.
You're literally being scammed, yeah.
There are administrative courts. They don't go to proofs and evidence. They go with whatever they want, basically. It's like bullshit.
All baseless.
It's just an administrative court. It's a contract. If you steal a contract with them, you're giving them the power. They're not real courts. They're kangaroo courts, like our friend was saying before, and that's true. They're not real courts. They're not even real lawyers, they're judges.
So how long have you been studying my material that I hand out?
Mm, I think since this year, since I met you,
So it's
and
only been about a year, you'd say, right?
yeah, and yeah, everything that I have, that because, as you know, Mr. Paul has been filing out my
Yeah,
paperwork,
yeah. You've had
but
other help too, but
everything that you mention and everything that you say, all the cases that you're talking about, is based on basically all my lawsuits.
I do what I do every day because of people like you, because of you being treated unfairly by the system, and because of the rights violations I see. It does make me cry at night, bro. When I think
Brother,
about
there's
all the children,
thousands
parents that
of
are going through
children.
this. And then I think of Psalm 8, verse 2, from the good book, if you're into that. I tell you, every time I read that verse, I know what I'm doing is right. And I know what you're doing is right. Standing up for parents, standing up for children, because ultimately they don't have the wherewithal to have that voice to speak like we do. Somebody's got to, and
No,
that's us.
and as have mentioned before, I could go outside and start filing all these lawsuits from international courts or whatever, but I think I have to go to all the venues inside the United States and then get my kids back. As I'm telling you, my kids were not born in the United States. You know
It's
what I'm
been a lot
saying?
of fighting, but I think that this administration has put forth effort to try to reconcile some of the stuff that's going on, even though it be indirectly. But the thing is, you can only do so much with one branch of government. Like I said, you got to go to your congressman too, and if your congressmen are corrupt, you know, you're just asking to get picked out then. But then, it gets down into your state legislature. It gets down into the
And
Supreme Court, all
and
these different entities.
I tried to I wrote an email to the Tony Evers, which is
Hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it, and I don't care. He's a fucking piece of shit.
He's a piece of shit, corrupt motherfucker. His name's on
Yeah,
the list.
he said that he was gonna change
Excuse my
the
language.
yeah, me too, the denominance of mother for an inseminate human.
Disgusting. That's why he's on the list.
He's a piece of I
That's banned by executive order too. That's against the law.
I would like to know what her mother thinks about what he's doing, because a mother, it's a mother, and a father is a father, and I'm proud of both of them. There's some mothers and some fathers that they're screw up in the head, but they still a mother and a father. You can't change that.
Parenting, being a parent is something you have to give time to grow.
Right,
And I don't think that people give it time to grow like they should.
right.
They just assume that parents are obligated to this debt to society, or this way, shape, or form that society says that they should raise their children. But, that's not really the government's responsibility to figure out. Those are private obligations. Those are obligations you obligate on yourself. Don't nobody come tell you when to wipe your child's butt. You do it because it needs done.
Right. Because
Not because some government organization comes forward.
because you know how he's crying, when he's a baby, how he's crying is because he's hungry or he has poop on his
Right. No need to
pamper.
yell at him. He's crying because there's a problem.
Right,
He's
right,
he's trying to get help.
right.
Even if it's subtle, sometimes it's subtle, and that's what people don't realize before it's too late. But it's like I say, man, you're going to get remedy in this federal district. I already know it. But what you're going to run into that on dodging service of process thing.
I'm
The
just
thing
I'm
is,
just struggling with the process
you can
service.
always refile if need be.
Yeah. No, of course I have 60 days anyways. It's like 30 days has passed. So I have another month to serve them. And they're not going to escape from me. I don't care if I have to pay the sheriff to do it, you know.
Honestly, you don't have a warrant for your arrest, so that's a cheaper way that you could do that.
You
Again,
know.
I can't recommend one way or another other than the 1983 for a civil rights lawsuit, just because that's you know. But it depends on what you got going on, because I can't recommend one thing or another, because you could have a labor rights lawsuit. It just depends, and that would be under I think it's 1985. But yeah,
It's gonna happen, Mister. It's gonna happen, Mister Obsidian. You know, it's
it's
like
coming.
it's coming. You know, as I'm telling you, nothing's is gonna stop me. I know that the law works because if it has worked for me, it has to work for any other citizen of the United States.
Yep, and you're using literally the same technique that I was throwing out there.
Yep.
Your guy had already been using it, and you kind of looked into it, and that's here we are,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you've learned a lot of my stuff along the way, and you've taught me a few things yourself. I've looked into that I because of problems that you faced. See, everybody in my 360 parent group, at least most of them that do interact with me on a regular basis and get on call with me, we go back and forth and we ham it out. We hash it out like, this is what the law says. Well, this is what they're doing, and so I get more of a hands-on ground experience since I'm not able to be there because I'm basically on house arrest at this point. So basically that allows me to get firsthand experience without actually being there. So I learn from every one of my people that I teach. So each time I teach somebody, the technique gets a little bit stronger.
No, and it's really funny because there's a lot of people trying to say, "Oh, yeah, you're bullshit. Yeah, whatever you're saying, you're
That's sort of what I was getting at. Yeah.
It's like, dude, they don't even know what the fuck is going on.
It
You
was
know,
like
a lot of
I got sick of getting called a liar, bro.
my friend,
They don't look it up.
I'm using those laws, and they're working for me. As I was asking you today,
That's why I can't wait to do my case, so I got proof. I don't have to, I'm just like, here, it works.
it does work. As I'm telling you, you saw when they removed the lien out of my car.
Yeah, they took it right off, dude.
They took it right off. And child support, I have never received another letter from the child support department.
They leave you alone.
Yeah, they did. I'm not contracting with them. I don't have a contract with them. My kids were not born here.
And they're stepping on your foot.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's gonna be good, man. So I've got John right now. He's working on his basically his beginnings, his complaint. That's where he's at. So you're a little bit ahead of him.
And remember that
That's
when
all I
you're
can really give you about his case. But
remember when you're a pro se litigant, you don't have to follow all the
lawyer rules, yeah.
right. You
It's
have
just
the
more
right.
constructed that way, and it makes your document look better. That's all.
You have the right to make mistakes. It doesn't matter. You can admit
Because aren't they? They're supposed to know to make those corrections where
you don't need the decorum of a lawyer because you're a pro se litigant. So you're
Here's one
allowed.
thing though. I go in. It's in natural persona or persona, not persona. Persona would be the jurisdiction that they don't have. But yeah,
Yeah, it's beautiful. Whenever you know the law,
I was
you
coming as a living man on the land. You're gonna have a hard time.
once you know the law, they start persecuting you, and you start prosecuting them because they are the ones who are fucked up, and they're violating your rights. Parental alienation, it's child abuse, and that's what they're promoting. Family courts promote child abuse, and that's a crime against humanity.
Yes, it is.
So all
And,
these
this all
people,
comes out of the Hague Convention,
yep,
body of private international law.
yes, sir.
All these CPS cases. That's coming out of there.
And that's
In that,
horrible.
they have a strict guideline by which parents exercise the custody of their children,
Uh-huh.
where the government dictates everything. And I have a problem with that. And I don't think we're a party to that anymore because we're not a part of the UN anymore. Because Donald Trump found out that the UN was trying some one world government stuff.
Which
Yes,
is
sir.
bullshit. And it's the same thing as the deep state.
And it was too.
Because that's another thing that they have to end, the deep state. And all these rich people that
They
make
did.
all these
They ended
lawmakers.
what people call the deep state is the surveillance state of the federal government. But this one is the state legislatures and the state government.
Right.
That's the deep state. The one that actually everybody's referring to, not the one that superficially, But then you got the shadow cabinet, which is a theoretical group of presidential cabinet members that purposely withheld things from the president.
Right.
So, I mean, can we really blame the president for not knowing about something? You see what I'm saying?
No,
But with
because they're
Bill
not
Clinton, I could
informing
totally
him.
blame him. With George Bush, I could totally blame him.
Mm.
I can't do that with Trump.
No, they can't.
Because the first time he didn't know, and then now the second time he's trying to do something about it.
And that's why they're so afraid of him.
And they're getting so upset. They're having a meltdown, dude.
Because they know they're breaking the law.
Yeah. This is going to be very interesting, I think, in the upcoming months. Because all that stuff's getting audited, looked at. We're going to pull the lid off of it.
I can't wait until I get there and I have my jury trial. And good luck to these guys proving why they took my kids for over 2.5 years, almost 3 years.
So they did not listen to the Dear Colleague letter for our last guest. So my response to that is this. There are 3 Dear Colleague letters. There's one for juvenile justice. There's one for family court. And then there's one for child support. And they all tell them that pretty much you can't be jailing people for this anymore. And then they continue to do it. And the reason behind that is they're a private for-profit corporation called Maximus Incorporated. And I don't care what anybody has to say about that. As far as Maximus is concerned, I don't care how much money they got. They can come after me all they want. It'll just make it worse for them.
Yeah.
Because I have the entire, almost the entire employee list of the main corporation for Maximus, which by executive order, the president is looking into non-governmental organizations such as Maximus. So I
Yes,
hope they have a
sir.
nice day being audited because they're subject to the same shit. They're an agent.
You know, it was so funny because every time the only thing that I have to say is 767.17. Look at my the novel. Boop, they will recuse.
I
They
don't
don't want to.
understand
They
why
don't
they
want to
keep
review
denying
the
it. No,
evidence
they don't
in
want
our
to touch it.
cases.
They don't want to have the rehearing. They don't want to touch it.
Mm.
Something stinks. I
I
think
sue
it's
them
fraud.
in. I sue them in small claims, and they brought the AG of Wisconsin to
So,
defend the judges.
so, here's one more thing. How long has it been since you've seen your child?
2 years and a half, almost. Last time that I saw them, I picked them up at school, and my oldest children, Andy, told me, "Dad, where have you been?"
Would you say that the state courts are the ones that are doing this to everyone?
No, I said, "My love, I've been here every time. At the time that I have to pick you up, I've been at the police station where I have to pick you up. As you've seen, your mom has been picking you up 1 hour and a half before I come here. They know what's going on, man."
Would you say that it's the state courts?
I said that it was the mom because that's the truth.
Well, the jurisdiction though, is it state or federal?
It was
That they brought it in. That they brought it in original.
it was state law, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. So, and what right did that state officer or state law or supposed state officer, supposed state law violate of yours? You just name one. Just one.
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
What right of yours did they violate? Just name one.
All of them at the same time, brother.
Okay. Just claim one. Just one right.
14th Amendment, obviously.
Okay. Okay. So they violated your due process. So would you say that that would qualify for deprivation of rights under color of state law?
Yes, sir.
Well, looks like they got a problem now, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, brother. That's what I'm suing them, and I don't care.
You just remember them state codes that they used against you. You write them down. These violated my rights. That's all you got to do.
I told the judge, "You're violating my constitutional right." And he said,
Yeah, even the
"Oh,
orders or actions. Yeah. Another thing about void judgments and void orders or actions is a void judgment can happen at any time. A void order can be an order can be voided at any time, and so can a judgment.
so what happens if they don't touch them whenever you file them? That means that they're void?"
When you tell them that it's void and they continue, that's a crime.
They didn't continue. They never touch anything else in my case.
Right, right. If you warn them and they stop, then
They're void?
well, then they've got plausible deniability of, oh, we didn't know, but we stopped. But then if they make any sort of move towards your rights again, it's instant pickup time, man. I think service of process is going to be your big issue.
Mm.
If it comes down to the wire, you just mail it, certified mail, and then have a notary public do the same, sign it in front of them, have them send it, and then have the fucking cops go down there and do it. That's what I'd say.
Right.
Now you got served 3 times.
I'm gonna find a way, brother. Those are my kids.
Then they will have been served 3 times. They can't say they didn't get served correctly.
Right.
Plus, you serve them at the home and the office. Now that's 6 times. There ain't no getting out of it. That is definitely diligent efforts. Whatever you
Right.
got to do. Whatever you got to do.
Right.
This is your kids we're talking about.
Hmm.
And you know that, and you go at it with that attitude. Yeah, man, you got them running.
The only thing that I pray to God is let me see my children again.
Those are
Um,
those seven commissioners / judges / attorneys / corrupt people. Oh, they're all going down. I'll tell you this. I sent all their names to Doge too. So you can guarantee any funding they're getting from the government's getting cut.
and freaking Tony Evers, dude, that guy has to go.
I sent him too. Yeah, dude, I had a whole list of people, man.
I've been with my children since they were born, and before they were born, I used to make. I've told you, prenatal and stimulation. I love these kids, man. They are my life,
You
and I'm
know,
gonna get them back, brother.
bit of side news. The Epstein clients are beginning to be tracked by certain sources within and without the government. For they're wanted for questioning in some matters. That's all I'll
Hillary
say. That's all I
Clinton
can get into.
and
But as far as
and
all I could say is, as far as the Epstein list, some very prominent people are about to have a very bad day. That's all
Hillary
I can say.
Clinton and Hunter Biden have an arrest warrant, brother.
Yep, some people are about to have a very bad day.
And it's not us.
No, it's not us.
You know what I'm saying? It's like we're gonna get our kids this year.
This is the year. Yes. Everybody is we've opened Department of Justice. We've opened these complaint agencies of the civil rights divisions to take claims now. So we don't have to send it all to Pam Bondi. We just send it to the civil rights division.
Mhm.
Because Pam Bondi's going after criminal. So she's going after the people coming here, choking people to death and leaving them in the ravine, and the Epstein's and the more than likely the 4D crime family at some point. We shall see.
I don't know, my friend. I just want my kids back, you know.
Yeah, and you will get there. And this is just to show them that you're not messing around. Okay. You're also gonna want to put in your filing. You want either as equal as custody as possible, or you want your time back that was taken from you. See what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it's all in.
So then you could just take them on a vacay or do whatever. You know, it's not like you're gonna hurt your child, man. I know you. I know better than that. That ain't you.
No,
And I
brother.
test people, man, when they talk to me with their cases. I test people. There was a
I
person
just
I had
want
one
them
time.
back. I want my Andy and my He-Man. Both of
There's a
them are
person I
my
had one time had a drug issue going on, and then didn't kept telling me that she didn't do it. But who am I to believe when they've got drug tests, but they've been known to falsify them before? So, this is why I don't want to be a lawyer.
You
I'd
don't want to
rather
be
be
a
the
lawyer
educator
because
than
you
I
don't want to
am
be a
now.
member of the bar association, which
Well,
all
you
of
don't
my
have to be
friends-
actually a member of the bar. You can get a license to practice law from the Supreme Court, which is where you're supposed to get it, not the bar.
Mm.
That's just a membership card, man,
Mm.
which is also a form of license, believe it or not. That's how they get around it.
Right,
Same with a birth certificate.
right.
You can void out the Social Security number and the SS5 form, the originality of it, because the birth certificate is a form of licensure. They're licensing your right to direct the care, custody, and so on and so forth of your human offspring. Okay? And they're doing that because a state is issuing a certificate, which is included in the definition of a license, that converts your right to parent into that of non-custodial or custodial parent, or whatever they do when they issue this social security number that's going on. And then they do it for a fee because you pay for that birth certificate. So now what you have here is an unconstitutional instrument, which means it voids out, which means you can void out the entire social security number from its very beginning, eradicating it from existence. But if you do that, it's gonna play like hell getting a new number. So if you want, you can't get Social Security no more, and you're gonna have to go back to work. If you go back to work, you're gonna have to use an EIN number or get a new SSN, which you can do, but it's difficult.
Right.
There's all these different things that I know how to go on in the background. Like, take for instance, the 16th Amendment gives Congress the power to levy taxes. Why is the IRS collecting taxes? That is the Congress's job. That's unconstitutional. Taxes in their current form are unconstitutional. Another thing is Title 26 was never signed into positive law. Neither was Title 3. Title 3 is Congress, and Title 26 is the IRS code. Another thing, the income tax is optional. The sales tax, not optional. That's a good. They can tax goods. You're operating in commerce. They're operating under the Commerce Clause. They have the power to tax that.
Right.
But not the executive branch.
No.
That's a violation of separation of powers doctrine. So taxes in their current form are completely unconstitutional. Yep.
What about the 666 Act of the child support?
That would be 42 USC 666 is a violation of your religious liberty if you're a Christian, because that's obligating you to go into a proceeding where there's a guy with a black robe on and he's trying to subjugate you to the mark of the beast, which would be 42 USC 666.
Beautiful.
That's how you play that number. But you can also use that to your advantage. The 42 USC 666 A3C non-custodial parent will furnish its social security number to the agency. This assumes that the non-custodial parent owns the social security number. Under 20 CFR, the Code of Federal Regulations that governs the Social Security Administration, 20 CFR 422-103D, Social Security cards, names, and numbers are the property of the Social Security Administration. You are not the non-custodial parent. The non-custodial parent / obligor / person who's got to pay child support / person who gets ripped from the child's life is not you. They were not allowed to diminish your rights of title and status to that of man, and parental rights as secured under Washington versus Glucksberg and Marbury versus Madison. And if they really want to go ahead, it's Norton versus Shelby County that states that it's void from inception, and if part of it be void, the whole law be void if it's unconstitutional.
Exactly.
I don't have to listen to you. Matter of fact, now you're stepping on my toes. I'm going to sue you for violating my rights. Right, good sir? And that's what you have pursued, correct?
Yep.
And you can look up your docket and the court number. Isn't that right, Ricardo?
Yes, sir.
If you go to Justia and you go to the search and you look up his case law, you can find it. Uh-huh.
Yeah, you can.
His case docket, you can find it right on there. And that eventually is going to be Wisconsin precedent, dude. It will.
Yes,
From the documentation you've shown me, from what Paul's put together, I can gauge this for you because being your Mackenzie friend, I can do that. It's going to be good, man. Your service of process is key, but okay, so I think a lot of people are troubled on where to start. when it comes to child support, and I'm going to get into that on my own lives on my channel as far as just child support is concerned. But as far as the CPS people, they are probably confused as to where to start as well. Okay, so when your civil rights are violated, Ricardo, where is the proper jurisdiction? I'll give you a hint. There's two of them.
Federal law, obviously.
Yep. Federal jurisdiction. And what's the other one?
The rights
What
given
other
by
court
God.
has the power to rule on the Constitution? Supreme
Rights
Court.
given by God. Yeah, Supreme Court, but the rights given by God. They can't
So-
deprive you from those.
So right. But these are the two jurisdictions. So if you want to start anywhere, that's where you start, right?
Federal. Yep.
Because when your parental rights are violated, what is that? That's a civil rights violation, isn't it?
It's a violation of your constitutional rights. 14th
And
Amendment due process. That's
in order to sue, you got to ask the federal courts a question. Did this violate my constitutionally secured federal rights in whatever way you say it did?
And last time I told you that whenever I was trying to figure it out, but whenever you can't take a guardian ad litem out of your life, sue them in small claims.
Mm-hmm.
Bye. She's gone.
Another thing about a guardian ad litem, that actually that violates your parental rights as well, because now the court is assuming to give your parental rights temporarily to someone else.
Right, but if you sue them in small claims, they can no longer litigate in your case, because it will be a
Conflict of
interest. So if you want to take some judges or guardian ad litems or whatever that they're violating your rights in your administrative courts, child support cases, sue them in small claim.
Anything to remove it from that administrative law jurisdiction, man.
Which obviously I don't.
Which you could use the UCT if you did it right, but you got to get it out of that improper venue.
Yeah, which I don't even. I don't even think, why will you want to be in an administrative court when you can go and sue them in federal court?
Here's another thing: administrative court. I got a problem with that. An administration is part of the executive branch. A court is part of the judicial branch.
Right.
That terminology in and of itself violates the separation of powers.
Mm-hmm.
And Marbury versus Madison said an unconstitutional law or action is void. That includes these judgments. That includes these courts.
Right.
But Shelby versus Norton County even goes further to say that it's void from the beginning. That no courts are bound to obey it. No citizens are bound to follow it. And yeah, I mean, it really goes to show that they just continue to operate outside of the rule of law and outside of the Constitution. Which is what? That's an oath of office violation. And what does that do? That means from that point on, they are no longer a public officer. They no longer have authority, and they basically resign.
And now
what we used to
order.
throw them in prison, we still can, and we used to hang them in the street corner, at the nearest street corner, and they were left there hanging until dusk, as a reminder for any of these people that would take their oath of office lightly.
Right.
So what words do you have to say, final words here for the next about, I'm going to give you final words for about 10 minutes. And then I might come on for about, a couple minutes to close out.
Well, first of all, don't trust on any lawyer. Lawyers are there for the Title 4D. Judges in family courts, they just want money too. They're a bunch of sociopaths that they are willing to take your kids out of your life without any remorse. And yeah, don't fall for these ridiculous kangaroo courts. If you can get out of them and start suing them in federal courts, I think that first of all, suing the child support department and taking the money out of the child support, the family courts, there's no point of those lawyers or judges being there. If you take all the money out of it, they're gone. And then suing them under the 42 USC 1983, which you're not violating any rights. You're exercising your rights.
Yep. Yes. The
That's
1983 is there to protect rights. Yes.
you know what do you have to be afraid of doing it if you're exercising your right? They're violating all your constitutional rights. You have the right to sue them and to get whatever relief of the courts towards your kids. And money wise, if more people start doing this and start getting successful on it, family courts are going to be banished because they're going to be scared.
And Travis, you can come out too, bro. We're free associate here in the last 10. But yeah, I totally agree with you, Ricardo, man. Like what they're doing, it's unconscionable.
It's a crime against humanity, brother.
It's
They're
narcissistic
they're they're
abuse. It's
they're dooming our
disgusting,
kids.
man. You turn baby mamas against baby daddies for the profit of agency to take children,
No,
to use CPS,
not
and
only
then
that.
you call yourself
That's
governor and
child
you
abuse,
fail to
brother.
stop that. You know what I mean? Like Tony Evers, shame on you. Shame on you, Tony Evers. Shame on you.
That's child abuse.
And I say the same thing to Maine's governor. Maine's governor, she can get the same treatment. You know?
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it is. All right, my friend. I gotta let you go. I have to do a couple of chores here in my house. But it
Yeah,
has been
I
a
got to
pleasure.
clean up here. So I just wanted to say one thing to you, brother. I think your 1983 is going to go over. It might have a rocky start, but it's going to go through. And I'll be here with you every step of the process in case you run into any situations that you and your team are unable to handle and you need ulterior information finding skills, such as myself. I'm an information broker. That's all I do is when somebody asks me a question, I go look the information up and I look all the way into it, and then I get back to them with an understanding of it.
And I
I just
appreciate
use
your
my
help.
brain
And
power to influence and help everybody get their kids into a safe situation. We don't want nobody getting hurt. We don't need nobody going to jail. But you, my friend, are a warrior, and that's why I was glad to have you on this show with the rest of the warriors. And I'd be glad to have you on my own personal child support podcast so we can commentate and free associate within our own child support circle group, specifically about those types of situations in particular.
thank you for everything you do, Charles. I'm sorry, Adrian.
It's all right, man. People might as well know my name, man. I'm Charles.
And whatever you do, you're doing a great job, my friend. And I appreciate everything that you're doing because
I look at it this way, man. They could close my case down tomorrow, and I know you share this sentiment. They can close my case down tomorrow, and they could dismiss it or whatever. I'm still going to come after them by giving other people this information.
Yes, sir. That's what we have to do because we don't want
It's my duty, man.
anyone else going through this thing. You know, it's horrible.
Well, what I am doing with my parental rights stuff, that is what being an American is about. We have under our Declaration of Independence the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
governments, all governments are instituted among men to protect those rights, not
Yes,
to be a
sir.
detriment to those rights. Life would be, you have the right to live. You have the right to acquire the things you need to work to make an honest living. You have the right to work in a profession of your choosing. You got the right to build a life with your human offspring. You got the liberty, right? Okay, the liberty from unlawful government intrusion into the family. You got the liberty against self-incrimination. You got all these liberties, and you have the right to pursue your happiness. And what makes you happy more than having your child in your life, learning and growing with you and facilitating happiness in a cohesive family unit
Yes,
that
sir.
could possibly make a better human being for the world, that can make this world a whole entire better place, just based upon two parents being able to get along while not being together and not being obligated and chained down to each other. That is what's ridiculous with this court system. It causes gender dysphoria. It causes removal of children. It causes many children between CPS and foster care, in between transport, to go missing every year. It causes so many children every year to get sexually abused by either teachers or otherwise in the education system, which would be why the Department of Education was dismantled, because they were giving profane books to young 8 to 12-year-olds. Okay, it's disgusting. And you have preachers going into these city town hall meetings to try to address that, and they were getting forced and pushed out. So yeah, I mean, it goes with the gender affirming care, the parental alienation movement, all of these things.
Right.
The narcissistic, calling people narcissists, using that as an accusation, actually being a narcissist, actually treating people with abusive. It's all an instrument of they've entwined the psychiatry community and the legal community in some form of pyramid scheme to attack the American family unit. And they tried to destroy us. They tried to delete us. And
No,
it's
sir.
not going to happen.
No.
Donald Trump said no. And so that's
No.
where we're at, brother. So know that you have remedy coming, because know that you have a path open to you now that has been laid forth by the president, the Republican Congress. We're ready to go, brother. So,
It's going, my friend. It's going.
so I'll let you get on out of here, and for these last few minutes, I'll get on out of here. I'll get everybody out of here for the last little segment.
My friend, thank you for all your time and your help, and thank you for all that you're doing, and keep on doing the good job. You know.
Yeah, you know it, brother. I'm here every day.
I know. I know. Thank you, my friend. Have a wonderful night.
You too.
Take care, man.
Okay. So I've got one more thing to say to you here tonight. Your parental rights were granted to you by God. If God himself doesn't take your first or second born away anymore, then a state agency can't do it. It's up to you to defend your rights. There's not going to be somebody like me or these other advocates that come in and defend your rights for you. The only one that can defend them is you. We can show you the way. We can be the light that guides you to the path that gets you back to where you need to be in your family life and make your family, whatever that may be. I'll have a closing statement. The Congress said, citizens of the United States, within the meaning of this amendment and this Constitution, must be natural and not artificial persons. A corporate body is not a citizen of the United States of America Republic. Remember that. And what do we have now? Our president signs United States of America Republic. It is back. It is time. Start marching. Start peacefully requesting redress. Start telling your public officials, this has got to stop now. Now's the time. Now's the year. I have high hopes for everyone. You have a good night.
Our courts are contaminated with young, inexperienced caseworkers and polluted with bribes, high-priced bonuses for speedy adoption of terminated parents, and judges who don't practice law with the Constitution in their sights. This is a problem.
They take away the fathers, leaving just a mom and cubs. They know that with dad out the way, the better things will go. Breaking apart the family, destroying the American way. Our legacy is built upon our families of yesterday. Fuck CPS, fuck what they doing. Fuck CPS, they need to be ruined. It's all about the division of family services. You hear that the division, that's what they about. They prey upon the family, the ones that the dad's been kicked out. We can't stand for this abomination. This is the song that needs to play across our once great nation, making us aware of the problem, stealing our kids. It's not mama drama. Stand up for those who are lost to them. We need to fight for the family, making America great again. CPS comes along with the mission to protect. The only thing they are doing is cashing in those checks, paid for by the souls of the children, diagnosed by a caseworker who is still a baby herself. They take away the fathers, leaving just a mom and cubs. They know that with dad out the way, the better things will go. Breaking apart the family, destroying the American way. Our legacy is built upon our families of yesterday. Fuck CPS, fuck what they doing. Fuck CPS, they need to be ruined. It's all about the division of family services. You hear that the division, that's what they about. They prey upon the family, the ones that the dad's been kicked out. We can't stand for this abomination. This is the song that needs to play across our once great nation, making us aware of the problem, stealing our kids. It's not mama drama. Stand up for those who are lost to them. We need to fight for the family, making America great again.